Hello guys, and welcome to yet another video of Star Wars Chats. This is Knight of Revan, and you have successfully made your first step into a larger world. I would like to discuss today about a rumor circulating, potential minor spoilers, by the way, for episode 9. If you guys do not want to know anything at all, I mean, this isn't a major spoiler about the plot or any characters or anything at all. It's very minor, but if you want to go into the movie next year, unbeknownst to anything at all whatsoever, I would suggest, I don't know, pause the video or something and exit out. Okay? Are we clear? 3, 2, 1, and... Okay, so there's a rumor speculating on the internet that, there's a rumor circulating that J.J. Abrams, who is directing episode 9, along with, and writing the script, along with Chris Terrio, who has also written, Batman vs. Superman. There's a rumor circulating that J.J. Abrams is going to connect all 3 trilogies together and, possibly introduce some prequel trilogy content. Continuity. Whatever that means, it means something good is about to happen if that's done correctly. Let me start with a question. What would you guys like to see continue on anything that would be in episode 9 from the prequels? Leave your thoughts and comments and questions down below or whatever. I personally would like to see, if this means what I think it means, we could possibly see Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost. If that's the case, that is very, very awesome. Regardless of what you think about the prequels, I actually am a supporter of the prequels. I like them. I don't understand the hate, although there is a lot of things I don't like, such as Jar Jar. The cheesy dialogue between some of the characters. George Lucas has actually admitted himself that he doesn't know how to write dialogue. He doesn't know how to script. His main forte is the story, the backstory, the world building, the coming up with the characters and planets and such. He's a storytelling genius, but he is not a good script writer at all. He's both written and directed all 3 of the prequel trilogy movies, episodes 1, 2, and 3, which includes The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith. And he's worked on the Clone Wars animated series, starting with the movie that came out in 2008, and the show, which aired on Cartoon Network from 2008 up until, I believe, 2012, when Disney took over. And I got to say, if they introduce Anakin's Force Ghost into episode 9, either talking to Rey or Kylo Ren, that would be amazing, to see Anakin back again and actually written well. Like, regardless of what you think, whether he was written well in episodes 1, 2, and 3 or not, you gotta say there were flaws. I mean, some of the dialogue was cheesy. The character of Anakin I really love. He's one of my top 5 favorite characters of all time. out of any movie. And within my top 5 favorite characters in Star Wars. So actually he's number 1 or 2, my number 1 or 2 pick. So if let's just say we're gonna do a fantasy draft, like football fans do, like fantasy NFL drafts for teams, of what their dream team would look like, what players would be in it. Let's do that with Star Wars, because I'm very interested. If you guys have comments on this, please comment and on this video down below, because my fantasy draft for episode 9 is for Anakin to come back and to see his spirit, to see him communicate with Kylo Ren would be amazing, and that would look stunning with today's special effects. We've seen Yoda make a return in The Last Jedi, which is one of the best things about that movie. Regardless of what your opinion, train of thought is on The Last Jedi, whether you like it or hate it, there are a lot of good things about that movie. The movie looks stunning with today's special effects, the battle scenes. The only thing, the main thing, one of the main things I didn't like, and I thought was kind of weird, was there was actually no lightsaber on lightsaber battle. Luke appeared to Kylo Ren at the end. Spoilers if you haven't seen The Last Jedi, but if you haven't, what are you doing as a Star Wars fan? Living under a rock, I guess, on Dagobah with Yoda in the swamp. But the thing is, about the whole force projection thing Luke did at the end of Last Jedi, I didn't really understand quite well, because it seemed as though he interacted with Leia physically. Like, he kissed her forehead, he held her hand, put Han's dice into her hand, and interacted physically with the environment and stuff. But if you notice, his feet didn't move the salt on the ground, which is funny in a way. He could have physically had a lightsaber battle with Kylo Ren, because it's suggested earlier when Luke kissed Leia's forehead, when Luke gave Leia, Han's dice. It suggested he can physically interact. We've seen Rey and Kylo Ren physically touch fingers, they touched hands. So projecting yourself doesn't necessarily mean that physical contact is out of the question. It also brings to mind what Yoda did. He interacted physically with the environment, caused lightning to strike the Force tree that was holding the Jedi books, the ancient Jedi text, or sacred Jedi text, as Luke said. Page turners, they were not. But that means that Force ghosts can interact with the real world as well. So maybe, well, it doesn't really matter. Just seeing Anakin talk to Kylo Ren and or Rey. I would like to see him talk to Rey too. That would be cool, to teach her some things. He would be the perfect teacher for Rey. And if there's any chance of Kylo Ren returning back to the light side, it's gonna be Anakin that's gonna be able to do it. He worships his grandfather's burnt helmet. He knows his grandfather's full story, full history, via Snoke speaking to him, learning from other sources that his father, or his grandfather, was Darth Vader. So he knows he was on the dark side, obviously. That's what, that's his dream, is to be like his grandfather. In The Last Jedi, he says, let the past die, blah, 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 let the Sith, Jedi, everything. And I believe he still is going to take inspiration from his grandfather, but he wants to start his own unique path, and I think that's cool. I think he still has reverence for his grandfather. I don't think he cares so much about Anakin, but he likes his grandfather being Darth Vader, and he's very interested in that. He wants to learn more power of the dark side, and he wants to be more in the dark, more powerful on the dark side. And he thinks that his grandfather can show him that. And he did finish what he started, by the way. In The Force Awakens, if you haven't seen the movie, what are you doing watching my Star Wars videos? Just kidding. But in the movie Force Awakens, he talks to his grandfather's helmet. And ever since then, I wanted to know what he meant by this. He says, show me the power of the darkness, and I will let nothing stand in our way, and I will finish what you started. What exactly did he want to finish that his grandfather started? If he means destroying the Jedi Order, Anakin already done that. Except for a handful of Jedi that survived, like Kanan and a few of the Jedi that were in the Darth Vader comics recently. So he pretty much made the Jedi Order extinct. He finished that. Vader finished a lot of things. In The Last Jedi, though, Kylo Ren kills Snoke, which is the Supreme Leader, and his master. And then he takes over the First Order, thus finishing what Vader started. That's what Vader wanted to do. Vader wanted to overthrow Palpatine, take over the Empire, and a lot of people in the Empire, officers, lieutenants, actually wanted the same thing as well. A lot of people working within the Empire actually wanted to see Vader rule because they felt he was fit for it. Vader himself wanted to overthrow Palpatine. We notice in Empire Strikes Back, he offers Luke to join him, and we can take the throne of the Empire. We can rule the galaxy as father and son. You can destroy Palpatine. He's foreseen this. This is your destiny. And he tells us to Luke, and even up until then, from the start of him pretty much turning to the dark side in Episode 3, on up 20-some years later in Empire Strikes Back, when he's an older adult as Darth Vader in the suit, he's telling Luke the same thing that he told Padme. Join me, we can rule the galaxy together and make things the way we want them to be. So that's what Vader started. It was a concept, an idea he had, a wish, a dream, and his goal to take down Palpatine. But once he got in the suit, he wasn't able to do that. We got to remember that his mechanical suit is electrical equipment. All Palpatine has to do is shock him with Force lightning, and he's done. You electrocute a robot or any electronic device. Okay, if you have your game system or TV or whatever plugged in, when there's a electrical storm, when there's thunder and lightning, a surge will go through and possibly short circuit whatever you have plugged into your outlets. That's why they suggest you have a surge protecting power strip to have all your electronic equipment plugged into it. We know that obviously if you electrocute something that's electronic, it's going to short out and short circuit and not work anymore. So same thing applies to Vader and his suit. Now, that is what held him back. Kylo Ren, as far as we know, he doesn't have no cybernetics. So he has the potential to become what Vader couldn't be. He's not limited by a life-sustaining suit. He's not limited by electronics, by technology, by mechanics, and the such. He wanted to overthrow Palpatine and take over, but he couldn't do it. Vader could not do it. Kylo Ren did. So if that's what he wanted to finish, he finished it. All right. He certainly did finish it. Kylo Ren is an interesting character because this is the first time we've seen a Sith-like warrior. He's not a Sith. Neither is Snoke. Pablo Hidalgo, which is the leader of the story group in Star Wars and Lucasfilm, has stated on Twitter, confirmed it 100%. Neither Kylo nor Snoke is a Sith, but they are on the dark side, and they are something different. They know the dark side. This is the first time we've seen something like that in the movies. And it's interesting that we see Kylo Ren that way when he wants to mimic his grandfather. You figure he would want to be a Sith and bring back the Sith. That's not the case. He wants to be something totally different. And this was from the start. Him and Snoke weren't trying to bring back the Sith Order. And even after he kills Snoke, you figure he would want to become a Sith and bring back the Sith, but that's not the case at all. He wants to let it all end. He wants to start something completely different. And he wants Rey to join him with whatever endeavor that is. We don't know. Obviously, we know now. He wants to rule the First Order. There are rumors speculating on possible plot points in Episode 9. Rumors are circulating around Reddit and stuff, online. Various sources are claiming that there's a leak for the story of Episode 9 that states Kylo Ren is a benevolent leader. The galaxy likes him. If this is true for Episode 9, and it takes place years after Last Jedi, which I hope it does. I hope there's a time jump. There has to be. Because the Resistance is just a handful of people now. A few people can't go up against an entire army and legions of troopers and stuff. It's just not, realistically possible. But then again, this is a galaxy far, far away, and it's fiction, and it's a science fiction movie, so anything can happen. But it's not realistic for a handful of people to take down an entire army. That's 10,000 times their size. The thing is, I find it interesting that all these things happened within the second movie of the trilogy. Where does that leave the last episode? What else can they do? And that paves the way for something completely different. And it leaves a wide, like gaping wide hole open for J.J. Abrams to come in to start whatever he wants to put into Episode 9. John Boyega, put on Twitter or some other social media that he hinted Episode 9 is going to be a war to end all wars. All-out war. So we'll see one of the biggest, if not the biggest, war take place in Star Wars history. Especially within the movies, at least. So in order to go to all-out war, the Resistance has to be grown in numbers So I imagine it's going to take place at least 5 years after The Last Jedi. Um, my guess is Leia's going to be dead, unfortunately. They have confirmed that it's not possible whether she's going to be recast by Meryl Streep. That was a rumor. I guess it was unconfirmed, neither that or confirmed. I don't know. It was a rumor for a while that Meryl Streep was going to be recast as Leia, and for a few scenes, and that was it. Colin Trevorrow, who was originally going to do Episode 9, has stated a year or two ago, before he even got fired, he wanted Leia to have a big part in Episode 9, since Han had his movie in The Force Awakens, Luke had his movie in The Last Jedi. He was going to make Leia have a big role in Episode 9, and they were going to have him, her and Luke share a big emotional moment, and I would have liked to see how that would have happened, how that would have played out. Carrie Fisher is sadly, unfortunately, no longer with us anymore. She passed away on December 27th, 2016, and everybody's been sad ever since. And she will go down as a memorable princess. And in my eyes, she is Princess Leia, and no one else can take Leia's place as Carrie Fisher. No one else. There is no one in this world. I don't care how good the actress is, how well she looks like Carrie Fisher. She is not Princess Leia. Carrie Fisher stated a year or two ago, before she died, that she is synonymous with the character of Leia. Leia is her, and she is Leia. Carrie Fisher loved playing as Princess Leia, and I feel, in my opinion, no one can replace her. Would it be respectful to her character to continue her on even though she's gone? Yes. It's respectful as long as that's the intention behind it. Is it also respectful to leave her be and say that she died in between movies? Leia's gone, Poe took over the Resistance. That's also respectful as well, because you can't replace Carrie Fisher, but then again, you can't kill off Leia because Carrie Fisher's gone. You can take the ball and run with it and finish her play and run it to the goal. Run it to the finishing line. And, why not? But also, on the flip side of that same coin, you can't recast her because no one else is Princess Leia except Carrie Fisher. Plus, that's never been done before. Somebody replacing another actor or actress as a character. Sure, Ewan McGregor has come on to do Obi-Wan in episodes 1, 2, and 3. And Alec Guinness was dead, so he couldn't come back. But he was recast because it was a younger version of the character. He had to be recast. Hayden Christensen replaced Jake Lloyd as Anakin, but that had to be done as well because Anakin was an older version in episode 2 and 3. And recently, Han Solo was recast as Alden Ehrenreich. But then again, that had to be done. Harrison Ford is too old to play a younger version of Han, so there had to be someone different to play Han. But the thing that's never happened was, in the middle of playing a character, no one has ever been recast before. James Bond, that's popular for him to be recast. There's several actors that played James Bond. There's several actors that played Batman over the years. It's not even It's not even funny how many actors has played those characters before. Here's what I would like to see. Within, this would be respectful. If they were to do this, within the opening crawl to episode 9, they can explain that Leia has passed away due to cosmic radiation. Because in The Last Jedi, she gets blown out of the ship, right? She's floating through space. In space, there's no protection against any form of radiation. I do believe in a novel to The Last Jedi, which I have. It states that she sustained some kind of, some form of effects from radiation from being exposed in space. So that would make sense as to why she was put in a coma and stuff. Plus, she did exert a lot of force using the force. I just realized how funny that sounds. But yeah, she went into a coma in The Last Jedi throughout most of the movie, and it would make sense if she passed away in between The Last Jedi and Episode 9 because, radiation and stuff. Radiation's a pretty nasty thing. So that would make sense. And then that would leave it wide open for Poe to lead the Resistance. I think they set up that Poe is going to be the next leader. And that's what the sequel trilogy is about anyways. It's about introducing these new characters and giving them plot threads that are important. More so than the original characters. Whether you like it or not, the original cast and the original characters are handing over the torch to these new characters. This sequel trilogy is continuing on the story of Star Wars. And is continuing it on through new characters. It only makes sense they pass on the baton to these younger people. So I believe it would seamlessly fit perfectly together if Leia was to pass on in between the events of The Last Jedi and Episode 9. I believe that would make total sense. I believe that Poe was set up to be the next leader, and I think he'll be a good leader. His character is really fleshed out in the comics. The Poe Dameron comics. Check them out. A lot of interesting stories, and his character is really fleshed out in those comic books, let me tell you. They have like almost 30 issues of those comic books. I want to wait to get all the annual editions for those comics, and I'd like to eventually read them. I read a couple of them on YouTube. But about Episode 9, Kylo Ren's the Supreme Leader. Who knows what his story is going to be in Episode 9, whether he's going to come back to the light, whether there's still conflict within him. At the end of The Last Jedi, it seems that conflict has ended. But then again, that's what it seems. Star Wars is about redemption, love, and family. Most important. And that love is the most powerful energy in the universe. Love is what binds the galaxy together, not the Force. Yes, we're told the Force binds the galaxy together, but it's actually love. And that's the most powerful force in the universe. That's what brought Darth Vader back to the light side. Luke, his love for his father, restored peace, brought down the Empire, brought his father back to the good side, and then he passed on. And then Luke passed on in The Last Jedi 30 some years later. So, that's it for the discussion today. As always, leave your opinions, comments, and suggestions and or questions down below. And let's talk some Star Wars for days on end. For the next 100 years. Let's hope that this franchise lives on. If you would like to subscribe, please do so, and like my videos, watch other videos. I do gameplay videos for Battlefront 2, and a few of them for the first Battlefront from EA 2015. You can follow me on PS4, by the way, too. My username is TK-LothCat88. My Twitter is Night of Revan. So that about does it. Yeah, leave your thoughts down below, and this is the beginning of our discussion. Let me know what you think, and may the force be with you.